The Youth Action Series is excited to show the work that we've been doing in the 32209 area. We've picked up trash, we've mowed lawns, we've landscaped, we've done everything in our power, and now our work is finally paying off.
Can you tell us about the Youth Action Series?
The Youth Action Series is a whole plethora of events and themes for the youth to get the youth active and involved in the community, or have a free space for the children, so they don't feel like they are left out or they don't have nowhere to go. Had fun. We had food, music, and everything. So
how did the mural come about?
So in a meeting with the entirety of the Youth Action Series, one of the Steady Young People members introduced the idea of having a mural. And it was tabled for a while, but as we kept going, we realized that it was an awesome idea. So from there, we really got it started.
How are your partnerships?
Under the Youth Action Series umbrella, you have Unified Community Investors, Blue Zones, Steady the Young People, the Performance Academy Jams, and the NAACP.
What do you enjoy most about working on this project?
I really see the work that we're doing in the community pay off. Because I do work at a place that's in this area, I'm constantly around. So I can see the community changing.
My church was the nucleus of where we met to plan, to write, to hold meetings so that we might be able to get the community, the city, and the federal government involved into doing something about the changes of the public housing unit.
So I'm like, let's get you connected with people who transformed the face of Durkeeville, people who have transformed the face of affordable housing in Northwest Jacks, people where you can literally walk down the street and see the transformations they've made and even bump into them in the store and speak to them.
It's called a doodle grid, and it's just to help get small images up on this big wall so that everything is proportional. So everything, all the letters and numbers, they end up getting covered up.
I was able to interview a lot of people who had been in the community about 80 years, and they told us about the changes that they'd seen in their lifetime from the 1930s all the way through, the 1990s. Wow. So they saw a lot of different things happen, and they talked to me about the 30s and the 40s and the 50s and how the community went from being really, really a good neighborhood with lots of very rich and prominent people to a very poor community with a lot of crime and drugs and a lot of things that were not so pleasant. And so we actually formed a museum. We actually created a Durkeeville Historical Society. So their idea was to pay tribute to the community that they originally founded in the 1930s. And it was really flourishing with kind people doing, kind things, and a lot of people going on to national acclaim to become opera singers and baseball players, and it was like amazing. And they came right there from that neighborhood. And then to watch it decline was a sad story for them. And so they were very kind in their words, telling me exactly what happened. And so as I listened, I was just kind of amazed, because I only arrived in Jacksonville in 1983. And what I saw was always bad, always crime, always drugs and, blight. I wanted to do something about it. And so when we formed a nonprofit corporation, it was in part with the thought that we wanted to restore the community to where it once was, to a community of prominence and pride, where people really cared about their neighborhood and their neighbors. So you have to believe in your community in order for you to stay. And if you lose confidence, then you want to move away. And so what we had to do was tell the entire story of how the neighborhood used to be and what we were hoping to do. So some of those challenges was to get people to believe in themselves and believe in their community, and to establish a sense of pride from a nonprofit. So our mission was to rebuild the neighborhood. And the neighborhood is more than just the building. It's also about the people. And so we have to kind of encourage people and come up with great ideas and inspire people and plant the seed so that people would own the challenges and not wish it away.
So I'm just proud that it became a community and a part of a greater community.
Raising money to help Durkeeville, like who inspired you or what inspired you?
I lived there. I moved onto the Myrtle Avenue. I was what you call a resident technician.
Oh.
I lived on the street. Y'all know where the chicken wing place is? I lived right next to the chicken wing place.
Oh,
So I was right across from the church and everybody that was planning. So when I moved there, that was my intention. I was going to work on getting that grant done.
So JP Small Park, it's in the heart of Durkeeville, right next to the Durkeeville Museum. It was maybe like an integral part of the community. A lot of people grew up there going to that park, getting to play baseball there, view baseball games and see a lot of their favorite players. Negro League teams played there. Great names such as Hank Aaron. Some of the first women Negro League players have also played there, so we felt that it was an important contribution to the mural, just to show that part of the history that meant so much to many of the people in the community.
I don't know if he was famous, but my neighbor, the guy who lived across the street from our house on 8th Street, I was reading this book and I was thumbing through the pages and I saw it was an encyclopedia of Negro League baseball, and I saw the name Albert Frazier, and it said Jacksonville Redcaps, and I said that can't be Mr. Albert, you know. So I left this was when I was in my 30s. I left my office and I drove over to the old neighborhood, and I knocked on his door, and he was an older gentleman at the time. And I said, Mr. Albert, I was reading this book and I think I saw your name in it. Said you played for the Redcaps, you played in the Negro League. And he had a really deep baritone voice, and he just started laughing. He said, ha, 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 ha. Man, that was a long time ago. And I said, I gotta know. You gotta tell me everything I need, you know. So he let me in and he started telling me about all of my favorite Negro League baseball players and other baseball players like Hank Aaron and Willie Mays and Jackie Robinson. He started telling me, and Satchel Paige. He was telling me about all of these players. And I said, all of this history was across the street from me all of that time. And I didn't know it. I had no idea that, you know, sort of the bedrock of that community is JP Small Park. That is that's a beautiful diamond that has so much historical value, so many stories of so many things that have happened and occurred in that space. And every time I get a chance to go in there, I feel I feel like I've, you know, been transformed back into the past. It's a lot of tradition there, and I would think one of the few places where it has so much history still remaining in Jacksonville.
Parties for young ladies were held in the 2 spot. Music was a big part of the community too. Community gatherings for music events were held in JP Small Park. People like Charlie Horace Singleton had music events in the JP Small Park. Okay, so that's Charlie Horace Singleton. His grandmother lived in the Durkeeville housing project. He wrote the music Strangers in the Night, Spanish Eyes, being awarded the Grammy Awards for his music. His daughter is our vice president here at the Durkeeville Historical Museum.
These colorful ribbons are going to have music notes inside of them to represent how music is such an integral part of the Durkeeville community. So we have notable figures, Ray Charles and Hoss Singleton. So the music notes are actually going to be of the song Lift Every Voice and Sing by the Johnson Brothers. We have this creative energy in this community, how the people can come together to create something beautiful, such as the music.
You know, the community and the camaraderie of the community meant that that people looked out for each other in a way that kept communities together. You know, so
basically, like, everyone knew each other, so it didn't matter if you got yelled at by your neighbor because you guys were a village. Everybody knew each other.
Exactly. And you knew as kids, you knew who you could play like that, right? You knew.
Well, I wanted to try to instill hope into the community, into the people there, and if we could add in that avenue of opportunity for people to realize that just because you live in public housing, it's not a dead-end street. You have an opportunity to grow up, to grow out, and to become a part of the citizens that would actually be a part of what is going on in the community.
Going into the future, what would you like to see Durkeeville become?
I think it has evolved into a place of residence, but I'd like for it to be a place that anyone would want to just be a part of, to live there, to be.
I have been so impressed with the community spirit that are people that I'm meeting here in Jacksonville that are working towards affordable housing, that are working towards homelessness, that are working towards programs to developing for people.
When you see the people come together like they do in Durkeeville, you realize that life is about relationships, respecting people, coming together in unity.
Being there for one another.
Being there for one another. And a lot of times we sacrifice relationships to acquire. When we get to the end of this life, we would say, I wish I had spent more time with this person.
Exactly.
Or I wish I had learned more about what this member of my family was interested in. Or I wish I was there for that moment in their life.
How does it feel to have your face painted on a mural?
It makes me nervous because, because I make myself think like, why am I so worthy? There have been so many great people from this neighborhood fighting the good battle that predate me. That, wow, what makes me more worthy than other people? So I'm humbled to be selected and thinking, oh my goodness, I don't know why me, but I am totally honored to receive such a tribute.
Well, over the years you have done amazing things for the community, like you said, and that's why they chose you, because you're an inspiration for the community. So we really appreciate your hard work and everything you've done for Durkeeville. So
when it comes down to the mural, it's to tell the story. Tell the story from the voices that was there. I want the individuals that transformed Durkeeville and Northwest Jacksonville to have a chance to be heard while they're here. So many times our workers are busy working till they don't have the time to type out or record or narrate their own stories. And it's not until they pass away where someone says, oh, wow, you did all this amazing stuff. Let's tell your story. But they're no longer here to ask those questions too. And so now you're researching and hearsay. And I believe the best hearsay is from the mouth of the individual that was a part of the project. So I really wanted to capture living legends so that you can see that Black excellence isn't in a graveyard. It's literally among us. These are gold mines that you can tap into right now. These are people that you can be in the presence of right now. These are people you can research and study and be around right now. And you could honestly say, I am on the shoulders of giants, but actually know what those shoulders look like and what the head of the person is that those shoulders are attached to. I'm really excited about the story being told from the mouths of the individuals that did the work.
I am so very pleased. The groups that have come together to pass on knowledge about the history of Jacksonville, the history of Durkeeville, and the communities that continue to stand as those that will be making the contributions to future generations to understand the history, understand the value of this history for Jacksonville. So please keep up the good work.
I'd like to add that it's really an honor for me to be a part of this effort, and it is amazing when a village does come together. The wonderful things that can happen, and this is a situation where many people have come together with their hard work and their commitment and their effort to make something continue to live on. And Durkeeville is truly a legacy. It launched our careers, our life our life and experiences that we have had. And without the commitment of the people that have been involved in this project, or with the commitment, we'll rest assured that Durkeeville legacy will live on from generations to come.
Hearts for Minds is excited to partner with other organizations in our community to unveil the latest mural in Durkeeville. It's a combination of players and youth designed to illustrate the history of Durkeeville, as well as a unique way to honor the dragonfly and bring the community together. A 9-panel mural come together in the center with a dragonfly made up of handprints. Handprints placed on the mural with people from throughout the community. The message being, when we all come together, we have the power in our hands to make change.
And now I'm excited to announce the unveiling for our mural to highlight our accomplishments for the youth and our elders.